Dr. Carlos Robinson. Dr. Carlos, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, and you, brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Come
Life
on
could
with it.
always be better, but that's why we wake up and we keep pushing.
Amen to that.
Yes,
Amen to
sir.
that. Got to stay focused on what you're looking to accomplish, and
That's right.
soon it'll get better as long as you stay the course. So that's
That's
why I
right.
would say keep it focused.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And every time I see Dr. Carlos, and anytime we're going on our separate ways, the last words that he says to me is, "Stay focused." And man, that sinks in. My older brother even tells me that. That's telling me that I need to rearrange some things in my life to be more focused than what I am today. But we're gonna get off the soapbox, man. And I want to explain to the folks that are watching why I wanted to have this live episode. I wanted to do a quick hitter, and I want to actually create a series, Dr. Robertson, called Catching Up with the Candidate. I think
Love
it's
it.
essential for America to be involved with our politics and to know what our local candidates are bringing to the table for them, the
Yeah,
people that live in the community. And so, what do you
absolutely.
what do you think about something like that? Can you be maybe a contributor later on down the road in multiple episodes as Catching Up with the Candidate?
Man, I'm always available, brother. That's just what
Already.
I've done my entire life. So
That's right.
anytime somebody's putting on for the people and we can
Yeah,
show what the people is producing, bring recognition and light to the work that we getting
that's
done,
right. That's right.
absolutely. So count me in, brother. As long as
Already.
my time permit, I'm there.
Already. Love to hear it, man. And that's what it's really all about. Is shining the light on people who are doing the work. Because we got billionaires, we've got people that are lifelong and generational long politicians, man, and they're all keeping the buck within their group of people, which I'm not this is a we're gonna get into this a little deeper in a different episode, but I see the plan. I see it's a little bit genius, but some will say it's an evil genius. But hey, I think that the pendulum is swinging, and we've got
Yeah.
people like you that are saying, "Hey, I know what our community needs. I've been doing it. I need a little bit more resources. Won't you talk to us a little bit about your five pillars?"
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, God called me on this plan to run.
Yeah.
And when I thought about like what would I run about? And then the second answer was run about what you've been doing, the work that you've been a part of, things that you've done in your entire life. And so I have five pillars, and those five pillars start with education. Education rescued me.
Mm,
Like I barely made it out of high school. It was one of those points. Well, let me say it like this: I bombed freshman and sophomore year because I was at a loss. There was some dynamics going on in the household that kind of shook me up a little bit. But junior and senior year, I got on the honor roll, made up all my classes, graduated from Douglas High School on time. But one thing that separated my family's legacy was college education with a degree. So I became the first in my family, my immediate family, to go to college and complete a degree. I cried when I got my bachelor's degree. It was the first
mm,
time I ever felt alive. It's like, man, it was something different about it. And so when I say that God rescued me in that moment because I never knew what I really wanted to be. I had ideas, but you look at your surrounding, you look at the dynamics of what you could potentially be, it
mm.
could be detrimental. But God took me to that point to be able to get a bachelor's degree. Cried like a baby. It was just something that came over me. And that was me feeling like I was alive. So that's number one, education. Number two, workforce development. So right after I worked in higher education for about 18 and a half years, I was in higher education. The goal was to be a president of a college or a university. Shifted gears, and the next place that I worked was workforce development, work readiness. And if you look at one of the dynamics in the community that's missing is gainful employment. So I got with an
Yeah.
organization and we worked to help people get prepared to receive gainful employment. So resume, application, interview skills, really understanding me, myself, and I. How do I really become that person that can be successful at gaining a job that's going to help me sustain? And state question 832, you need to be ready for that
Right.
one.
Yes.
Raising
Yes.
that minimum wage, I'm sure we'll get to it. But my whole point is this: gainful employment changes the dynamics of somebody's life.
That's right.
So it can help you stay out of trouble because now you at work, you got money, you don't have to worry about trying to offset that money with some possibly illegal activities,
That's
so on
right.
and so forth. So positioning a platform of workforce development is strategic. Next one, economic infrastructure. I'm now the president and CEO of the Oklahoma City Black Chamber of Commerce. It's important that we understand that we have to own things. We can't always just work for everybody, especially in our community. And I pinpoint the Northeast side because that is the side that needs the most tender love and care.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring the north side. I know District 99 is on the north side, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they ain't at a need for a lot. Not to say that they should be recognized, included in every voice and decisions that I make, absolutely, on behalf of the people. But we also got to focus on where the needs are the greatest.
That's
And
right.
we got to rebuild the east side, the northeast side. So that's where those jobs come in. That's where that ownership come in. That's where circulating the dollars within the community. When we're talking about school systems that need funding, when we're talking about nonprofit organizations that need funding, it comes from the power of the businesses that's inside of that ecosystem.
Right.
So economic infrastructure. Next, youth and public safety. Look, I grew up on the streets and I know the dynamics of not being in a safe environment. It wasn't by choice, it was because I didn't have anything else to do. So I remember growing up back in the days when they put on the news they're going to give $1.4 million to drug and gang task force. They're going to
Right.
get
Yeah.
more equipment. They're going to get more uh, bulletproof vests. They're going to get more tactical equipment. They're going to get more guns. They're going to all of these things. And I couldn't help but to think that that is a war on our community.
Right.
Wow. So you're going to armor up to say that you're protecting us, and what could easily protect us is just literally something else to do other
Right.
than gangs and drugs.
Right.
We didn't flood the streets with drugs. They came from somewhere. So how do you
Right.
protect us from it rather than try to combat it?
Right. Right.
Remove it from our community, give healing to our community that may be strung out on drugs. Then that won't be an option for a drug dealer. Like nobody's wanting drugs because we're educated enough not to do it.
That's
What
right.
I'm saying is that $1.4 million could have been invested in mentor programs, our community centers, building our parks. Pickleball is a beautiful thing that could possibly happen in our community, but I don't see one over here yet. But my
Right.
whole point is using the funds to actually build rather than band aid. And so that's one of the things that I want to focus on with youth and public safety. We want our elders, our seniors to be able to go to their places that they choose to go to as safe as possible. We want them to be able to feel that they don't have to worry about any kind of crime or violence happening on in their neighborhoods that they work so tirelessly to build over the years. So that's number four. Number five is healthcare reform. I always say health is wealth. People got to understand that. We've lost so many of our loved ones at alarming rates based off of things that could be preventable diseases, things that by educating our community could change the course of their lives. But it has to come from a trusted source. So, where are all our Black and minority doctors and nurses? Why aren't they embedded in our community just as much as a liquor store? Why aren't they connecting with
Wow.
our community through access, affordable healthcare,
Right.
affordable benefits plans and packages? A lot of that go hand in hand. If you don't have a job that provides you with benefits, then you probably won't have access to healthcare.
Mhm.
How do we position the right businesses in our community to receive those different community members that's coming into their healthcare facilities? Strategic. We got to ask for it. We got to position ourselves to receive it. We got to write legislation around what it looks like in our community versus somebody else's community. So those are the five pillars. I know you're probably going to ask me a little deeper, but I want to give you that as much as that, and then we can kind of go into details. But education, workforce development, economic infrastructure, youth and public safety, and healthcare reform are the five things that I've been doing, currently working on, and will continue to work on one way or another because that's what our community need, and that's how I serve. And I serve off the base of the needs of our community because I am a servant leader.
That's right. I love it. Yeah, man. And you've seen this and our need from every level in your working experience. And I want to say that I've crossed your path at every level, whether it be a listening session or a conference or a training. I've seen you in every part of those at every level of those positions that you've worked at, that kind of gives that unique insight. And I think with the unique insight brings about the ability to add some nuance, right? And so I think that's what we're largely missing, is nuance in our political system, and then greatly from our community. But I'd say you're someone that I believe that is a man with a vision, and you're able to actually uh, expand that vision through the levels of work that you've done in the community. With that being said, I wanted to ask you a question within education. In some of our communities where there's opportunity gaps where they exist, how do we make sure children, especially Black and brown and underdeserved youth, have access to quality education, mentorship, technology, support systems that'll help them compete in the industrial world?
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. So biggest thing is education is really the brunt of the way a system is set up is around economics. And I'm big on that. You got to
Right,
understand these other communities, it's a lot of money pumping through those communities. So a lot
right,
of dollars can be pushed into different areas such as education. So they got quality books, they got
yeah,
quality food, they got quality atmosphere. The children can get to and from school to be able to get those lessons. The parents don't have to be outside of school suffering, trying to navigate what those children are going to look like, what
right,
type of clothes they're going to wear. So all that's when uniforms start to come into place. So what I'm saying is if we build an economic infrastructure, it's going to help build our education system, because when we
mm,
start to invest in our education system accordingly. So I remember growing up, it just, you can even look at the difference between, let's say this, Oklahoma City public school and a school out somewhere else in another area, wherever you want to go, Edmond, Norman, so on and so forth, completely day and night. And this day and night, because the school systems focus differently on how they're able to engage with their teachers, engage with the students, engage with the parents. So the dynamics are completely different. One of the biggest barriers is just be access to capital, paying the teachers accordingly, giving them the resources that they need for them to be successful in the classroom. My wife was a third grade teacher. I remember us coming out of pocket to be able to get the tools that she felt was
mm,
necessary for her students to have hands-on experiences.
right,
That ain't happening across the way. That goes all the way into higher education. I worked at a predominantly white institution in higher education. The resources were plentiful, the access to things were plentiful. Now, the sense of belonging may have been a little bit different because you become, a minority in that situation, being minoritized in that situation. And then I went to an HBCU. As I worked at an HBCU, I can feel the sense of belonging. We treated the students as if they were our own, but the resources were lacking. So that those are distractions on students being able to be successful in education. So we just got around the corner with making sure households had internet to be able to do things outside of school and do the work outside of school. You used to have to pay for internet. If you couldn't afford internet, then the student wasn't doing any work.
right,
So those little minute type of things in our education system can be detrimental to a child's, learning abilities. How do we tackle those things? How do we focus and address those things from the ground up? We got to build it ourselves, but it's
that's
really
right,
going to be based around making sure we have the proper infrastructure with funding coming through our community to pour off into our own education system, because we can keep crying about them not paying our teachers enough, or we can build our education system where our economics in our community, where now these business owners understand that my baby go to this school, so part of my profit and my proceeds are going to go back into that school that I love so dearly, because I want to see the teachers thrive, I want to see the
that's right,
students thrive. So we have to do it ourselves as a community.
that's right. And we start young, and they going through the system, right, where they're familiar with the auntie that worked at the school. They're familiar with the uncle or the cousin that works at the grocery store. They're familiar with the neighbor that works at the convenience store. And so I see that vision as something that's greatly needed, and it's there on the east side. But I feel like with more resources that can amplify and scale. I know transplants like me from Lawton, you kind of work to try to find a place where you fit in some cases, a community to where you can congregate with people who look like you can go and have some of those experiences, those smells, those tastes, even the feels, the hugs, and so I think the broader uh, that your vision is like it is now, I think right now the lack of resources is what's going to get in the way as a barrier, and that's just my opinion. I'm someone that is passionate about this. I'm a reparations activist, and I've seen the data, and I do believe the only way forward is an inject of some type of resources or some type of
Yeah,
financial resources,
absolutely.
because people are doing the work, and we want to scale that, and we want to see those leaders scale that. And again, like I said, for transplants like me, we want to be able to say, hey, it's not working here. I want to go move to a community to where I have an opportunity to provide for my family. Now, I want to look at workforce development because this all goes hand in hand. It's a wrap around your pillars,
Absolutely.
and I love that. But how do we create stronger partnerships between employers, schools, workforce programs, and local businesses for people to move from survival jobs into careers?
Yeah. So that's what I do at the Oklahoma City Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So when I talked about education, that's me working it every single day. I was a recruiter to go out and talk about what's beneficial for somebody to go to college and further education. You get a degree, you're likely to get a higher paying job based off the degrees that you attain. That's the way
Yeah.
the system used to be. And we under a new administration where education is not as valued.
Right.
So it kind of took away from that. But I don't want you to think twice that education is not valuable for you. Because ever since I furthered my education, it's a step up in your knowledge base on how you navigate and how you feel that I am free from any confines that may lock me down and feel like I can't do something.
Right.
So every time I got a different degree, I felt like a new superpower that I had added. Now, when it comes to workforce development, that education, that business degree, that entrepreneurship, a lot of our businesses are first generation business owners, so they don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into this position, I noticed we have plenty of talent, but we don't have access to funding, we don't have access to knowledge, just a streamlined pipeline of from school to entrepreneurship to scaling that business. And so that's why the Black Chamber has come in to help that. But that also increased jobs. So if we have successful Black businesses within our community, for example, if we took 23rd and renovated 23rd with a bowling alley, a skate rink, a bingo hall, an arcade, all of these different things that I we know our community love. This is our culture. These are things that we love to do. We
Mm-hmm.
embed that in our community. People that are on 23rd or surrounding areas, that becomes jobs for them.
Yeah.
We pay them at the wages that we feel that we should be paying them for them to be successful, because we're giving them the money basically to probably turn around and give it right back to the business owners.
That's right.
That's the whole point. Pay your bills
Yep.
and then socialize. And
Yeah.
so if you circulate those dollars accordingly, you paying livable wages. I can pay all my bills, but I also can come out and have a good time. That builds your economy. So having ideal jobs in a pipeline from school to whatever trade, if you need to get a trade, we need more construction workers. We're about to have a shortage of construction workers, HVAC, plumbing, electricians. All of those are pipeline opportunities of well-paying jobs. My wife and I built this home that you see behind me from scratch, from the ground up. You go on my Facebook page and you'll see just us from start to finish as our own general contractors. And we wrote big time checks. But guess what? I couldn't find for the most part. I couldn't find some Black contractors
Yeah.
to come in and professionally get that work done. It's
Yeah.
a bunch of red tape. I'm not saying that they're not out there, but a lot of them may not have the proper licenses, been doing it for years. And so how do we figure out ways to make sure they are properly licensed and educated enough to be able to create these jobs in our communities and pass those things on as a legacy? And I'll say this, I can give an example of my classmate that did the bricks on our house. His dad was a bricklayer, one of the best bricklayers in the land, just recently passed away. So God rest his soul. But he passed down a legacy to my classmate that now can pass it down to his children moving forward. We don't have enough of that. And so once we start building that type of ecosystem of generational wealth, whether it be businesses, whether it be knowledge, whether it be capital, whether it be homes, we probably gonna be finding ourselves in a work crisis because we're expecting to still go work for somebody else that's not invested in our community. So we got to
Mm,
build the infrastructure, we got to build the businesses, we got to create the pipelines that we see and desire in our own community, and that's how the ecosystem's supposed to work because that's how it's working in these other communities.
that's right. So, y'all, if you just joined me, man, that was some fire, some gem from Dr. Carlos Robinson. He's running for House seat, District
Yep,
99. Is that correct?
yep.
Uh,
State
uh, ru-
Representative, House District 99.
yep. And I wanted you to touch on District 99. I've had some friends that I've invited over into District 99 for dinner and for lunch, and I believe there's this misconception that District 99 isn't safe, a safe place to go and have those experiences. Tell us a little bit about District 99's makeup, and if we see it through, and you get that seat, and you're there in the next 4 or 5 years, what can we expect to see from District 99?
Black excellence at its finest. So the negativity tends to cover up black excellence at its finest, and it's happening all up and down through and through District 99. We literally built the Northeast side off of the backs of people that work tirelessly to
Mhm.
get what they have. Now, crime is everywhere, and I think
That's right.
that's one thing that our community, especially in Oklahoma, has highlighted crime as it's only in the Northeast side. No, that's just the only place the news choose to show it. And more times than not, crimes in other neighborhoods just don't make the news. Let's just be real and transparent about it. You see a black face, and I used to wonder about that. I used to have braids, and so I'll tell this story. I used to have braids, and when I went to college, I didn't want to cut my braids because I already knew they perceived me as a thug. And I wanted to prove to them that we're not all the same. So I went through my associate's degree, at least that part, student body president, president of Black Student Association. And I didn't want to cut my hair because I remember as a youth, they always posted a black person on the news showing with braids and like, man, he looked like me, but that ain't me. That's not who
Right.
I am. And that's how they highlighted our community on the Northeast side.
Yeah.
But I also remember at predominantly white institutions and having friends that were white and they had troubles in their neighborhood as well. And you didn't hear about it. Had some issues that went on at that college or university, but you wouldn't hear about it. But vice versa, you hear something about the HBCU in the community, and it's a highlight of the weekend.
Yeah.
So now the perception of the state of the city is that these places are bad places to go when the crime rates could really be almost equal, if not worse, in another community. And so they look at our people as bad people because we are suffering from being suppressed,
Mhm.
suffering from I have nothing left. Like I gotta eat, so I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to
Yeah.
survive.
That's right.
Unfortunately, it's going and working against our community in order for them to survive. But these things weren't something that we developed. We didn't bring drugs in our community.
Right.
We can't afford guns.
Right.
But when you put those things, those dynamics somehow just land in our community from one source or another. I'm not trying to push blame, but it didn't come from us. We were
Right.
brought here years ago on a boat. We ain't went nowhere else since to bring nothing else back. So it came and it entered into our neighborhoods, and we decided this is how we're gonna navigate those channels.
Right.
But what I'm getting to, that does not make up the body of our community. And we got well-educated people. We got
That's right.
pastors like
That's
none
right.
other in our community. We got doctors, we got lawyers, got entrepreneurs, you got teachers, you got some of the most legendary people in the state of Oklahoma that came from District 99, right here on the northeast side. So you cannot tell me just because you see that something happened that the news decided to highlight in our community over something that may have happened similar or even worse in your community make us bad people. We've never been bad people. We've
That's right.
always been a caring and loving and nurturing people.
That's right.
So that's just the stereotypical things, those micro aggressions, those
Hmm.
micro, all of the things that you want to perceive that our community is about. But you walk in, we're gonna treat you with love and
That's right.
respect as long as that's what you giving us. So we welcome you to come to the Northeast side, see the rich culture, rich history. I can walk through it with you if you feel like you're that afraid. Um, but at the same time, don't assume something
Right.
about a culture of people unless you truly know the rich culture of those people,
Mm,
because that's an insult on me.
yeah.
It's an insult on our pastors that I've been going around the city visiting over the past few weeks. That's an insult on the community members that come in and pray and worship and want better for our community based off of the things that's given. Uh, we not gonna stand for it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I think it's just a lack of education and a lack
Right.
of
Right.
awareness. So
Right.
coming to anyone in our community functions or restaurants, you will really kind of find yourself backing up the words or the thoughts that you had based off of your experience in our community. So District 99 is representative of a lot of the Northeast side. So half of 23rd going back south, some of Bricktown. Then you think about the districting. I even looked at the map. Some of it goes north side. So respect to all of those on the north side of town. A lot of people chose to move north because it was more greener pastures, if you will.
Mhm.
On the north side, Chisholm Creek, Chisholm Village, again, not having the same struggles as. So the dynamics of District 99, you go on one side of the district and you talking about these needs. You go on this side of the district, you kind of talking about, I would like more of this. Can you help us out with that? So the problems are different. And I don't know if the state structured it that way, but strategically, when we talk about redistricting and all these things that
Mhm.
you see
Mhm.
going on in Texas, a lot of that stuff is intentional. They don't want
Yeah.
the power of the black vote to be in one area. We
Right.
all banded together and being able to influence what the votes look like. So how do we shift the dynamics of what that looks like? And so you need a strategic leader like me to understand that
Mhm.
and come in and navigate things in a different manner based off the knowledge and awareness that I have in our community.
Absolutely. Very well said, man. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm with Dr. Carlos Robinson. He is running for District 99.
Let's
Man,
go.
he if y'all are new to this episode, stop where you're at, running back, write
Come
down the
on.
gems. If you live in District 99 or if you got a relative that lives in District 99, share this video with them. Share information about Dr. Carlos Robinson. He's on it. He's unifying not only District 99, but I think he's going to unify our state. Speaking of a unifying effort, healthcare is something that's unifying. Healthcare is often discussed nationally, right? But what healthcare issues are most urgent at the neighborhood level and at District 99. What influence can a local and state representative realistically have to improving the local healthcare system?
So I talked about this earlier today in one of my lives on my way back from a church service and just kind of talking about what a state representative is. I don't want people to get hung up on District 99. When you select state representatives, even if your state representative is not the person that you wish they would be in the
Mm-hmm.
community that you live in, but you still have a heart for the community that may be suppressed or marginalized, then you'll think about, like, I need somebody like Dr. Carlos there. Like, I'm not in your district, but I support you and I'm gonna share a story that, may have changed people's thought process of who you really are. So it's so uncomfortable for me to go back and I go tell somebody about the things that I've done, because it's like now I'm feeling like I'm bragging on myself. But nah, you could probably ask your neighbor how I work with them. So what I'm saying is the state representatives that you choose across the board. I just happen to have the access to District 99 to run for that seat. But when you look at my platform, I say Dr. Carlos for OKC. I don't want to hone in just on District
Mm,
99, because the
yeah.
work and the channels of things that we'll do in District 99 will have an
Mm,
impact
yes.
on it statewide, really. But
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, let's focus on that because I'm from the city. It's gonna be the closest reaching things that a lot of the things that I will be able to chime in on and have influence on. So when we talking about healthcare, you talking about the importance of having access to affordable healthcare in your community, having access to healthcare that looks like you. Let's be transparent. We go in some of these places, not to say that these healthcare providers didn't go to school and do all the things that they needed to do to become who they are. But if you don't look like me and you haven't had the same upbringing, the same dynamics of what my family has, your advice may not be the most sound advice because you haven't seen it firsthand. Or more importantly, you haven't took a focus or interest on researching black health.
Right.
70 something percent of District 99 are black individuals. So if you don't know much about the needs of that community and you have a healthcare facility in our community, it's not there for the right reasons. Could be, but then it goes off of who did you hire and how are
Mm,
you paying these individuals to come serve in our community? It
right.
can be owned by somebody else, but are you hiring black, minority nurses and doctors to work in those facilities to treat us accordingly?
Right.
But systematically, are we looking at things on an equal playing field when we say, how do we have access to a benefits plan? So some of those things, if I only work part-time or if I'm receiving this, I'm receiving that, and Medicaid, we want to get rid of all of these different things, then how do we give access to this community that's been suppressed so long?
Yeah.
Well, somebody got to come in there and say, hey, wait a minute. So if you remove this Medicaid or whatever have you, and not supplement that with good paying jobs or access to other things to help these individuals get affordable healthcare or afford healthcare, it is detrimental to our community. Yes, it's not a problem on this side of District 99 because most of those people have a different income level from these, but it's a problem for majority of these people. So you're talking about millions of people across the state, across the nation that are going to not have the proper health care to be
Mm,
successful,
yeah.
to take care of themselves.
Right.
That shouldn't be something that's a privilege based off of your upbringing or your access to that. Should be a God given from the heart of the people that want to serve in our community. You should have access to free healthcare, technically free
Yeah.
education. Reality, will that really happen? But it shouldn't be a barrier to allow you to get those type of services. And so we'll sit down in a room and have a conversation on what that looks like across the board. But the importance is have empathy. If that's not a
Mm,
problem for you, I get it.
mm,
But it is a problem for others. So
right.
learn about it. Let me step up to the plate and teach you about the things and the struggles that this particular community is going to. And you have empathy enough to say that I would not wish that on my family one bit. So
That's
I
right.
support what y'all trying to do. And I'll back off on the things that would be detrimental to your community and be more empathetic on how we can have universal health care for our people to be healthy. So that's where I'm at with it.
Wow. Well said, man. Someone that can go into the room, have the conversation, articulate it, um, resonate with people that don't look like them. I feel like Dr. Collis Robinson is an easy vote in District 99. Speaking of vote, tell us how the political streets treating you, man. I know you're out there shaking hands, kissing babies, knocking on doors, and dropping signs. Are we getting some good feedback from some of the hands you're shaking and the people you're talking to?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's just gotta
Yeah,
give it. So
yeah,
me being a person that stepped up to the plate kind of threw a wrench in the whole situation.
mhm,
So again, God called me to this. So as a president and CEO, I am sitting here as a leader of all of the access of the ecosystem we're looking to build. I mean,
right,
all of the talent, excuse me, all of the talent of the ecosystem that we're trying to build. However, we just don't have access. So that's why I'm running for this seat because a state representative can now go in and strategically say, I'm working with these individuals. Should be. It won't be everybody. It's probably only me have that access to say, I'm talking to the individuals that's doing the work, the
mhm,
organizations that's been doing the work that are lacking access to whatever it may be. A lot of times it's just, I need the funding, I need the building, I need the education, I need the professional development, these things. If you align me to that, I'm smooth selling. The biggest part is I have the heart for it. I want to
mhm,
serve in this community. I want to give back to my community. But the red tape that I've been trying to navigate since I started been a lot. So people understand that me as a president and CEO of the Oklahoma City Black Chamber of Commerce, I'm that person. People understand that me working in higher education and recruiting students to go to college to receive the same rescue that I receive, they understand that I'm that person. However, what happens in the political arena, it gotta kind of get a little sticky and mudslinging ish, right? I don't know what people are saying behind closed doors. There's not too many bad things that you can really say about me
That's right.
as
Yeah.
anybody. Like I've
Yeah.
always been an upstanding,
That's
solid
right.
individual since I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
baby, I always had the right morals, the focus. Anything I did had intention behind it. I was focused on trying to maybe survive or whatever it might have been, but there ain't never been an ill will in my heart, a hatred in my heart. But as I become a politician now, that's what I'm realizing I am. People start to act a little different. You can feel that, okay, you might be going for somebody else. That is perfectly fine. That is your right. As a voter, you have the right to go for somebody else. You have a right to support your family, your best friend, all of the things. But when you're talking about going to vote for the best candidate that's going to serve our community at the best capacity, I don't care if they family, friend, bestie for years to come. If they're not a better fit than me, then what are we doing? That's how we find ourselves in another situation. Like I had it in the back of my mind that, kinfolk, I love them, but you snapped off and had an attitude about some things, or they don't have the business background experience that's what we need, or worked in higher education and every community type of thing. There, it's just comparative. Family, I love you, but this guy right here got the
Right.
package.
Exactly.
And I'm not
That's
saying
what
I
it's
don't
boiling down
support
to.
you and don't think you'll be a great fit, but the
Right.
reality is this person got the best package for our community to actually move. I ain't
Pause.
saying somebody to be good at the job, but to actually move, be great at the job, and actually move our community and scale it. And so, what I'm saying is, my wife and I, we've been in several rooms, we've been invited to several meetings or parties or functions, and people look at us different, smug, and you feel people like, like, why, dude? My wife asked, "Do you know them?" Like, nah, I don't. I'm assuming they may know I'm running for state representative now, so I might not be their favorite candidate. So they looking at me like I've done something to their candidate. I ain't personally attacked none of them.
Yeah.
I could say a bunch of things on why I think I'm a better candidate than any other candidate that's running, but
Right.
I choose not to. I'm gonna speak
Right.
to my own platform.
That's
So
right.
to answer your question in full, it's been a weird process because I'm
Mhm.
a community person. I'm a servant leader. I've always shown up for the people. I've always bent over backwards for the people. Is I'm not more than two or three people removed from somebody that you may know that I helped. I don't boast and brag about it, but man, ask a friend about me. Ask somebody, ask yourself. Like, I pulled up, I supported, I like, I share, I
Mhm.
comment on almost everybody. Or I do the hearts and fires and prayers on my little comments is because I can strategically support as many people in one little stroke of going through.
Exactly.
I can't go in and type up a whole full, hey, I'm so proud of you. And I
Right.
read what you want to read, but I recognize you, I see you, and I've been that person before campaigning. So people have been acting weird, but it's also a ton of love. And I digress
Good.
there.
Yeah.
Bunch of people show a lot of love. I appreciate it. A lot of people support me. And I can't really speak no higher than that. Thank you so much to the continued supporters. You can endorse more than one people. I had people like, nah, I like both of y'all. Okay, great.
Right.
Absolutely. That's what it's supposed to be. And then let the voters decide on who they feel to be the best candidate at the end of the day.
That's right. That's well said, man. Very well said. I think that at some point, um, there's that candidate that back in the day, I don't know if y'all remember when they were like, "Oh, he's a candidate I'd like to go have a beer with." You know what I mean? And then there's that candidate that, hey, I want him to do the work. I want him to do the job. You know what I'm saying? And so I think there's so many different ways you can look at what you want the candidate to do. But if you're living in District 99 and majority of that population is Black and African American, we've got to have a candidate that's going to do the job. And we can talk about the beer later. I'm just become completely real with you, and because there's a lot of people that, in my opinion, should be looking at District 99. It's a big race to me. I think it's important to our city and state. I believe that it's about lifting the floor, and then by lifting the floor, we're uplifting our whole community as a whole. So, Dr. Carlos, man, I want to appreciate you for tapping in with me. I know you got a lot planned today. Um, Again, you got anything you want to plug before you go? Let us know where we can find you, how we can support your campaign. and the whole 9 yard.
Yeah, absolutely not. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
This is like one of the things that we need in our community. More platforms so people can hear your voice, especially going live. It's off the cuff from the heart. I won't remember half I said, but it's embedded in me. It came from
Yes,
the
sir.
heart. I speak from the heart. So hopefully people support a person that's doing the work
That's right.
consistently. And so, like you said, there are candidates that are great people, but again, we got strategic work to be doing.
That's right.
I'm that candidate that get the
Yeah.
strategic work done, that's worked tirelessly to become the best version of myself,
Mhm.
to be the best supporter and servant leader in my community, bar
Yeah.
none.
Right.
You can bring anybody up against me, and we can go resume to resume, service to service. It ain't nothing you can really bring too far close to the things that I've accomplished strategically by the grace of God. Like literally that rooted. Any one of them, please, we can sit down. What do you want to do? When we talking about community service and rich impact in our community. But you can follow me. You can follow me on Dr. Carlos for OKC. That's Instagram. Kind of using my own personal platform because my work is done in my platform. So it's not
Right.
like I need to go create a new page to
Yeah.
say that these are the things I'm doing. It's like literally go to my personal, do it like Dr. Carlos pages, and you'll see the work that I'm doing. But I also have a website, drcarlos4okc.com. You can jump on there and find some links on how you can support, you can volunteer, you can donate. But everything that I do is strategic. Even for my donations, I'm supporting Black and small businesses with any purchases that I buy with your money to help support the campaign, from yard signs, from flyers, for anything strategic. Nobody else is going to get it. Well, win, lose, or draw, the businesses in our communities benefited from these type of endeavors. And so I ask that you support me in that regard, because the more people hear about my name and a real candidate out here, the more likely they'll make a strategic decision on the best person to vote for. So Dr. Carlos for OKC, all love. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot. If you want to tap in with me, you can catch me from my chamber endeavors to my personal endeavors. I'm an accessible person. Walk up to me. Let's talk about it. Contact me. Get my number from somebody. Find it online. I promise you, I'm gonna be that person that's gonna continue to show up, because God has given me this ability to show up, and it is my purpose. It's not a job for me. I'm walking in purpose. And so I look forward to your vote. And I thank you for everything that you've done to support our community to thrive.
Yeah. Beautifully said, Dr. Carlos. I appreciate you, and I'll see you here in a couple weeks for another part three.
Yep. Whenever
Let's
you
do
need
it.
me, brother, just jump
Let's
on
do
my
it.
calendar. We're gonna
Yes,
make it
sir.
happen. I appreciate your time, man.
Yes,
And I
sir.
appreciate this podcast. Y'all need to
Yes.
tune in, lock
Yeah.
in
Tap in with
with
us.
This Is America
That's
podcast.
right.
Share it, get people out there so they'll know that we talking about people that's in our community doing
That's
great
right.
work, and we all Americans serving
That's right.
the most high. Let's
That's
go.
right. Dr. Carlos, you are America. This is America podcast. I've got some closing remarks. So if you need to dip, go ahead and dip. Y'all stay safe out there in them political streets.
There it is.
All right
Already.
now.
Take care, bro.
You take
Peace.
care. You, man, there you got it, man. Dr. Carlos, I love talking with Dr. Carlos. I get a chance uh to see him once a week, pause. And he's always checking in on me, man. And that eye contact, that firm handshake, that's something that men like from other men. Pause. And there's another candidate in District 99 that um I think highly of, and a lot of people do. And these two guys will probably be the runoff. And this, to me, District 99 is a race that the state should have their eyes on. It's a pretty cool thing. There's a lot of nuance that's entering the politics of Eastside Oklahoma City. There's big visions for Eastside Oklahoma City. And I think that when Eastside Oklahoma City thrives, our whole state thrives. And so there's a lot of cool things to look forward to. But who's the candidate that's going to get them there? If I lived in District 99, I definitely would endorse and vote for Dr. Carlos Robinson, simply because he's been at every level of that social structure and community on East Side Oklahoma City. I came from Lawton. Hey, let me slow this down. I left Lawton, moved to Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, 2% African American. I seen a thriving, mostly white community. All leadership was white, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that community was beautiful. They had everything you could think of: the mountains, the parks, the scuba diving, the skiing, and all. I don't know how they had scuba diving in the mountains, but they had all that cool stuff there. It was a safe community. So I believe places like that, mostly white communities, exist. Estes Park, another prime example of a mostly white community, thriving, beautiful, safe, clean. That all came together off of a master plan. These are visionaries behind the closed doors, building out from ideas that will go into a thriving community. They don't just pop up overnight. And I believe that Dr. Robinson is someone with that plan that builds out an infrastructure similar to that of Fort Collins and of Estes Park. And so I fully endorse Dr. Carlos Robinson. I believe that if I lived in District 99, I would be picking people up and driving them to the polls. I'd be making sure everybody's voting. If you're listening and you're in District 99, I'm going to make it hard on you. I recommend Dr. Carlos Robertson because he has the insight from every social level of that community and that society, and he knows what that community needs from the top to the bottom. And so, do your research. If you don't have time to do your research, if you trust me this much, I'm telling you, Dr. Robinson is the person to vote for in that primary. That's June 16th. Obviously, we're going to do that runoff, and so there's a process. Let's make sure we get him in that runoff, and then in November we'll make sure we get in that seat. So y'all stay tuned. I got some more candidates coming on. We're going to keep doing this quick hitter, catching up with the candidate. Politics is essential to America, y'all. If we're going to talk about This Is America podcast, let's start at the heartbeat. And to me, the heartbeat is at the politics. Make sure we got the right people in there, listening to what they believe that our country, the direction our country should go, and then provide our own input, right? And our input could be like, no, this dude's too radical, and this is the person that I need. This is the person that's going to make sure the community is safe for my child. The education system is going to be safe for my child. That's the extremist. No, thank you. So we need to be more involved with the political system in America, even if it's just watching the news or talking to your friends, asking them, hey, when's the next voting day? Asking them, hey, who have y'all heard about any of our candidates? Are they going to protect our community? These are easy conversations to have. And I'm advocating for more people to have these kind of conversations. So stay tuned. I've got some more quick hitters coming up. If y'all have any questions, you can hit me up at This Is America Podcast 2050 at gmail.com. That's This Is America Podcast 2050 at gmail.com. If you live outside of Oklahoma, or even if you live in Oklahoma and there's a political race that's important to you to discuss, hit me up. Let's talk about it. Let's look at what the candidates are trying to do. I know these days the data centers are a big conversation, reserving our mineral rights, immigration. There's a lot to talk about when we talk about politics. So if there's something you're passionate about in your community and you want to chop it up, This Is America Podcast 2050 at gmail.com. Hit me up, or you can hit us up at This Is America Podcast on all social media platforms. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. I think we're going to do another live here in about 30 minutes. So stay tuned. Love y'all. I'm out. Let me get my mouse to work here. All right, let's try this again. I love y'all. I'm out.